So 1998 was a hot year. The wines were very ripe. The wine still has fruit, a little shoe polish. I think the sweetness from the wood, it's matured.
The warmth from the vintage shows with ethanol, but not volatility that's, disruptive.
Well, tasting it here, it's definitely a wine of strong character. It's clean. It's going to age very, very well.
I don't get any green notes on the new vintage here.
No.
Perhaps there was green ingredients when we pulled it in, but again, with fermentation management, I think two things to focus on: extraction of, or more even infusion of the components you want, the ripe components of the skin, for example.
I definitely think it's extremely important that Pinot Noir especially, and Beaux Frères especially, is typical of the grape Pinot Noir. And so I like the fact that we're picking earlier because we're able to get more typical Pinot Noir characteristics, a little bit of herbalness, red fruit are really, I think, beautiful characteristics and traits of Pinot Noir. The alcohol levels are
13.7.
13.7, so certainly the pHs are probably in a nice, comfortable, low pH, which enables the wine to age quite well. The nose is beautiful.
I get this bramble cane fruit character. It's very fruit driven, which I appreciate. We're making, I say it too often, a fermented fruit beverage. So it's really good to see this core of fruit come through, purity. And I think it's going to perform very well in the minds of many. I think the old diehard fans of Beaux Frères are going to love it for this precision it has, and more of a New World palate will appreciate for its fruit profile. And we hope that our longtime supporters are going to be excited about this.
This has got a little bit of orange, but certainly I would never guess based on what I'm just color, that the wine is 20-something years old.
Yeah, colors hold up great.
The wine now with age has really improved dramatically. It's got a lot of interesting bottle character from just aging. When I was making the wines here, I would purposely try to retain as much of the natural CO2 in the wine as I could. CO2 certainly is a byproduct of the fermentation. And you can measure that CO2 in parts per million. Now, the wine books suggest that red wine should be around 750, 800. 900. And I would have twice that amount. The negative would be that the wines would be slightly effervescent in the first couple years of its life. But that CO2 helps to preserve the wine, so we would use less SO2 and retain that CO2 as a replacement for preservation.
Taste it before you decant it, and then make a decision whether you think decanting or double decanting, meaning pour it into a decanter and then back into the bottle, is a good course. If you have patience, just leave it in your glass and let the CO2 develop out and volatilize, and it's really cool to actually to track this as CO2 volatilizes, the aromatic profile changes, and it, some would say, adds complexity having CO2 because you get to track that progression in your glass.
I personally don't like to decant, but that's me. I like to pull the wine out of the cellar, which would be about 55 degrees, open the wine, taste it, and then watch it warm up in the environment that you're drinking in, normally room temperature. And when the wine starts to warm up, the CO2 will drive out of it pretty quickly. And that's when, to me, it's like a flower opening. If it weren't for our customer base, we couldn't do what we're doing. And so we do truly appreciate and thank our longtime collectors, and some of the notes that we get about anniversaries or milestones in their lives. They occasionally will share our wine at those moments and write back and tell us about it. And we really do appreciate that. It makes us feel really honored. It encourages us to even work harder to make a great wine. Here at Beaux Frères, it's definitely a family business. Mikey and I work together every day. Little Jack, comes down to the winery almost every day and tools around the office and in the lab and in the barrel room. That brings an element of a privilege. I mean, how many people get to work with their children and their grandchildren? And so we appreciate that, and so I hope it's transmitted into the wine and you can taste that, just the uniqueness. It separates us from corporate, from formula making products. And you're doing a good job. I'm really proud of you, what you're doing.
Thank you.
And I look forward to tasting many vintages in the future.